Good morning, students. Welcome to the fourth unit of our course, Revised Bloom's Taxonomy. I am Dr. Ronita Banerjee, Assistant Professor, Vidyasagar Teachers Training College. Today we will learn about Revised Bloom's Taxonomy. We will start with what are the aims of education. Aims mean the broad goals which educational system embraces and which learners are expected to attain. The aims of education are based on philosophical and socio-psychological aspects of society and culture. That is, the aims of educations are originated from the philosophical thought process and the psychological as well as social aspects of any society or any culture. For example, education to develop patriotism and good citizenship can be the aim of education of any society. Again, the aim of education may be to create good citizens or global citizens. So, as the society is different, so are its demands and so are the aims of the society from education. Similarly, the society may also want a citizen to be mentally healthy and mentally having proper mental well-being. So this is the psychological aspect of any society or one society's demand. So different societies can be different, and so the aims of education will also vary likewise. Now, aims of educations are guiding principles of education policy. Recently, we had our NEP 2020 education policy. So, aims of education were also decided in this policy, as well as all the previous education policies have certain aims that are to be fulfilled while following the path shown by the educational policy to reach that aim. Aims a representation of philosophy and needs of the country, as already told. Some countries may be having a philosophical thought of idealist nature. So, their aim of education may be self realization of the learner. So, according to different philosophical thoughts or the thought process which is being followed, the aims of education varies. Like we know that Rabindranath's aim of education was one of naturalistic nature, while Dewey's aim was pragmatist in nature. So different philosophers, educationists follow different schools of philosophy and different aims of education evolve. Aims are designed by policymakers at national level. So, like the educational policy has a nationalized character, similarly, when the education policy is being framed, the aims of education are also decided at the nationalized level, which later on percolate to the state level, followed by to the district, to the school level, to every individual student level. Aims are the statement of intent of education. So, aims decide what is the intent, what is the purpose with which the education is provided in any school, any state, any country. So, intent of education is decided by the aim. Aims at government level and at education level, at administrative level are named as goals, and at teachers level these aims become rather specific and is termed as objective. So now we come to goals of education. Aims become goal when they are specific to a school or subject area. So while aims of education are seen in educational policies, goals of education are seen for a school or for a subject area concerned. Goals translate aims into simpler statements that schools are expected to accomplish. So, if the aim is patriotism, the goal can be to give some courses where the students will learn about their country, or we can give some courses where the students will learn about freedom fighters of our country. So, goals are specific but non behavioral, non observable, non measurable. Goals are little bit precise than aims but not as much specific as objective. So, these goals are non observable or non measurable. Directly, we cannot measure them. So we may have to make them more specific. To make the goals more specific, we come to objectives of education. Objectives are the milestones to reach the destination, that is, attain the aim or the goal of education. Objectives are much more specific, direct, and practical in nature. So, these objectives which we are setting, these can be at the level of any topic or any subject area. So, objectives of educations are a milestone to reach the destination. That is to attain the aim or ultimate goal of education. Now, these objectives are very much specific, more specific than goals or aims, and these objectives are related to learning outcomes or behavioral change in student. Mainly when the teacher is planning the class or the instruction or writing the learning design, it is written in terms of this behavioral objective so that when changes in behavior of the students occur, it can be easily assessed or measured. So, objectives have two main characteristics. One, they are observable and measurable, and number two, they are stated in behavioral terms, that is, in terms of the behavioral change that will occur in the learner. Now, here I have given an example. If the aim is to create good citizens, then it can be made or transformed into a more precise school level goal, that is to provide knowledge about laws and duties of a citizen, and it can be further narrowed down to a educational objective, that is to be practiced inside the classroom, which is to teach fundamental duties to every learner. Now, educational objectives are those statements or changes in behavior which are desired as a result of a learner and teacher activity, which is a two-way process. That means after the instruction is complete or the classroom teaching is over, there will be certain change in behavior of the learner, and our educational objective are the statements of these behavioral changes. Educational objectives may be stated as teacher-centered, learner-centered, behavior-centered or subject-centered. So, they can be stated from different angles or different perspectives, though the main idea remains the same. Instructional objective, like when the teacher is having the objective to teach something in classroom, then the educational objective can be called instructional objectives. So, instructional objective, there may be two types of objective in the instructional process. One is the instructional objective from the point of view of teacher, and one is the behavioral objective from the point of view of student. Instructional objective are statements of measurable learning that is intended to take place as a result of instruction. So, instructional objectives are derived from the terminal behavior of the students and are expected to display as a consequence of receiving instruction. This is the same thing we already discussed. After the instruction is over, the teacher is having an idea that some changes will occur in the students, and the terminal behavior of the students will differ from their entry behavior. So, this is the main idea behind instructional objective. The objectives of teacher and students are called instructional objective. Now, what are behavioral objective? Instructional objectives are derived from learning outcome and can be stated by identifying the product of instruction in terms of observable performance. So, actually in simple terms, when the instructional objective is checked or assessed to identify what is the result of the instruction, and this assessment is done by the observing behaviors of students at the end of the instruction, then this is called behavioral objective. These outcomes have been referred to as behavioral objective or terminal performances. So, the terminal outcome or the terminal performance is assessed, and that is termed as behavioral objective. Thus, instructional objectives or behavioral objectives both are the same thing, but from the perspective of teachers and students in a separate manner. Now, this is the hierarchy of objective. The program objectives are narrowed down into course objective, and course objectives are further narrowed down into classroom objectives. So say the program is a B.Ed program, teacher training program. So B.Ed program will have certain objectives. Then B.Ed program has many courses, courses on child psychology, courses on fundamental rights and education policies, courses on assessment and evaluation. So each course will then again have different objectives, and again these courses will be taught in the classroom, and in one day only one unit or a one single little portion of one course will be completed. That portion will again have some objective which will be our classroom objective. Now here is another classification of objective: general objective, intermediate objective and specific objectives. The course objective must be in harmony with the general curriculum objectives of the program. So we already discussed the hierarchy. The program objectives are the general objectives, and from that general curriculum or general objective we get our course objective. Next we come to the intermediate objective. Intermediate objective lie between the general objective and the specific objective. So intermediate objective is breaking down of activities which together form the total general objective. So if we have a general objective which is comprehensive in nature, we will break down that objective into course wise objective. Again the course wise objective will be broken down into topic wise objective, and here this topic wise objective are the specific objectives or instructional objective. So in this way general objective and specific objective are at the two end of the continuum, and between that lies the intermediate objective connecting the general objective with the specific objectives. Now sources of objective. There are three sources of objective mainly, and we will now discuss them one by one. First is society. So objective of education mainly comes from the local background or the local community, which may start from the national level going on to the state level and then coming down to the community level. So every community is different from one another, and there are needs of the community, like needs of preserving the culture and transmitting the culture, needs of a democratic community life, needs of some cultural significance or cultural tradition that has to be passed on. These needs have to be taken in consideration while making the lesson design or the instructional objective or the curriculum. And the societal needs are continuously changing with the evolution of the society. So these needs are dynamic in nature. Next we come to the individual needs. Individual needs are reflected through the society, and there are certain specific needs of the individual as well. So as a group we demand something from education or educational objective. Again individual has their own needs, like needs of self development, their physical development, their psychological development, their self fulfillment, their self actualization. So there are some needs at individual levels as well. So the course has to keep in mind the social objectives on one hand and the needs of the individual on the another. Next, moving on to the knowledge. Knowledge means the need of the subject itself. So the body of the knowledge which the subject represents, it has some needs also. Knowledge has its own categories like facts, processes, basic ideas, concepts and thought system. Its classification and organization into disciplines and subjects, and again every subject or discipline differs from one another, and also the mode of teaching or the mode of accepting that knowledge may also differ, and different disciplines have different bearing upon the learning process. So depending on so many things, the demand of the subject matter, the demand of the different types of or categories of knowledge that exist within a subject, difference between the different discipline, everything have a bear upon the instructional objectives that are made, and according to the subject, according to the body of knowledge, according to the different types of knowledge that will be given, the objectives will also change. So this was our basic discussion on aims, goals and objective, types of objective, and why different types of objective are necessary. So thank you students. Happy learning.